has gone out. Do you hear? Have you ears to hear? Verse 14 to 30 is the parable of the talents, right? So let's break this down. A travelling master entrusts 3 servants with large sums. 5 talents, 2 and 1. The first 2 traded double the money. They double it. The third buries the single talent. When the masters return, the productivity servant are praised. Well done, good and faithful servants. Today, you've been commended. Yes, by me. Well done, good and faithful servant, and invite into the greater responsibility of joy. The great responsibility of joy you've been invited into. The kingdom of the heavens is likened to. It is here. The unproductive servant is condemned as a wicked and lazy, stripped of his talent and cast into the darkness. They search and search, and the weeping gets louder and louder. Verse 31 to 46. When the Son of Man, this is a breakdown of the sheep and the goats, the judgment of the nations, right? When the Son of Man comes in his glory, he sits on his throne. When he sits on his throne, it's his Father's throne. He sits with his Father. It's not actually his throne. It is his Father's throne that he sits upon. And gathers all the nations. He separates people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. Sheep on his right, goats on his left. Matthew 25 presents 3 powerful teachings of Jesus, or Yeshua, each bearing crucial insight into the kingdom life. The parable of the 10 virgins emphasizes preparedness for Christ's return. The parable of the 10 underscores faithful stewardship. Are you a faithful steward? You are in a stewardship role. Didn't you know that? If you have a platform, that's what it is. The parable of the 10 virgins emphasizes the preparedness of Christ's return. The parable of the 10 underscores faithful stewardship of our God-given gifts. And the account of the final judgment emphasizes compassion for the least of these. Now let's look at a bit of the historical background of Matthew 25. Because Matthew 25 is a part of Jesus' final teaching on the Mount of Olives. His final teaching on the Mount of Olives during the last week. Are you with me? During the last week before the crucifixion. Passover, crowds were filled in Jerusalem. And talk of the Messiah, right? Listen carefully. There was great talk about a Messiah, Mashiach, and the kingdom. It was a buzz at the time because they could work out the time of the arrival from the book of Daniel. Yeah, I haven't got time to go into that. There are others who've done that. Each parable drives home what the kingdom readiness looks like when the king appears unexpectedly. Everybody is saying, when will he arrive? Not knowing that the parousia is not a coming, it is a presence. He's present right now. Do you recognize he's here? Now the Jewish wedding customs and oil lamp. I'll give you a bit of a background here. The first century village wedding or weddings began with the groom fetching the bride from her father's home, right, at night. Friends lit the way with the small clay, these were clay lamps, fueled by what? Olive oil. What proof of that? Archaeologists have unearthed such lamps. I've got one here. I've got them here. Exactly. Archaeologists have unearthed such lamps in Galilee, oval, palm-sized, with single spout, capable of burning about 15, roughly 15, 30 minutes, without replenishment, yeah? Wise guests routinely carry an extra what? Flask of oil. Because they know the timing. The timing. He was delayed, wasn't he? We need extra oil. Let's just make sure we've got a bit extra oil. Holy Spirit, Father, give us Holy Spirit understanding. Now, what is a talent? You any ideas? You see a talent. They were given, there was 5 talents. 2 talents. 1. A talent equals roughly 75 pounds of silver. 75 pounds of silver. That's just 1 talent. What did Judas do? He traded Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Silver was worth a large amount. These were given a talent, 2 talents, 5 talents, 1 talent. roughly, if you want to do it in kilograms, 34 kilograms of silver, around 6,000 denarii. Or about 20, listen, 20 years wages of a labourer. 20 years. If you want to check out Matthew 20 verse 2. So a talent was worth a tremendous amount. Jesus' listeners would have viewed 5 talents as an astonishing fortune. The parable magnifies the master's trust and highlights that even 1 talent is no small gift. Investing could include lasting farmland. Remember, it's an illustration. Financing caravans or trading in markets. Now let's jump on to this next part. Whether you know it or not, you are a shepherd. If you have a platform where people listen to you, you are a shepherd. Listen carefully. Shepherds, sheep and goats in Judah. In Judah. Mixed flocks graze on the Judean hills. Did you know that? That's what happened. At night, shepherds, at night, confirmation, shepherds separated gentle sheep from more unruly goats, from warmth and milk. Sheep on the right symbolize what? Well, it symbolize favour. If you want to check anything up, Genesis 48 verses 13 to 20. You'll see how it represents favour. The imagery calls where God judges between fat and lynching. Ezekiel 34 verse 17 to 22, if you're interested in checking that out. Now there's so much here, Father. I'm going to give it a rest here. If you want to know a little bit background information, archaeology, they found this. Oil lamps matching 1st century designs have been uncovered in Nazareth, Capernaum. Carbon residues tested confirm oil, not just oil, but olive oil as fuel. It is proof. Talent, weight, ingots, silver coins found near the